Hello there, how's it going,
I've
bro?
heard about you.
You've heard
right?
about me, I'm
Now,
infamous.
I'm just going to say,
Okay.
don't try your troll tactics on me.
Troll tactics?
Yes.
For example?
Like, well, you know the troll tactics, right?
I do know the troll tactics, I just don't really practice them too much.
Okay, good. Then
Occasionally I do, sometimes.
then we'll see.
But okay, don't worry, no troll tactics. I've heard that you are, more reasonable than some of the other flat earth theorists here, which is, good. Let's have a reasonable conversation. So, tell me something, just a quick question. Do you believe in history?
Do I believe in history?
Yes.
Well, most of it's a lie.
Most of it's a lie.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you say that?
Because I've researched history, especially concerned with the Bible.
Where did you research it?
Well, I've not long come from the British Library. It's one of the places I've researched.
So you do believe in history, just not all in history.
I don't believe in history, the way it's portrayed to us. I don't know what, is this flat earth we're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
but we'll come to flat earth later, because it starts with history. What humanity has learned throughout its course, throughout history and prehistory and all that stuff,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Okay,
So
let's
I just
assume
want to know where you get your knowledge from.
Let's assume I believe in history then. Go on.
Okay, you believe in history.
Well, I don't, but let's assume I do.
Okay, let's assume you do. If you believe in history, automatically you can't believe in flat earth theory.
Why is that?
Because in history, there are men, for example in ancient Greece, who disproved flat earth theory.
How did they disprove flat earth?
Good question. Let me answer that question. All right. So 2,000 years ago, with the Greeks calculated the Earth's circumference of the circumference of the equator, where sometimes the sun is overhead. Sorry?
Eratosthenes.
Exactly. You know about it.
Yes, I do.
Do you agree with him?
No.
Why not?
Well, funnily enough, Neil deGrasse Tyson went on television and actually said that Aristophanes did not prove the round Earth. He said with two wells, right, seeing this experiment, I don't know if you've seen this experiment, there's a well, okay, in Cyrene or something.
Yeah.
And
Cyan.
okay, at one point in the year, the sun is directly overhead and you can see to the bottom of a well. And 400 miles away, simultaneously, there's another well, and you can't see right down to the bottom of it, and there's an angle, and you can supposedly calculate the curvature of the Earth, okay? But at the same time, if the sun is close, right, and the light from the sun comes down at angles, then exactly the same result will occur. And funnily enough, when you look at the sun coming through a broken cloudy sky, the light comes down at angles. Yeah?
So you believe it was wrong because the sun was distorted by the clouds?
The sun isn't distorted by the clouds.
The sunlight.
Sunlight comes through the clouds at angles.
And it's distorted by the clouds?
Not distorted, it literally comes down through the clouds. Just like if I had a torch and I put a barrier and I put a hole in the barrier, it's going to come through the hole.
What if there's no clouds?
What if there's no clouds?
Yeah,
Well,
at that moment there were no clouds in the sky. Or almost no clouds.
I was going to step in.
Alright, okay. Sorry?
What if there were almost no clouds at that specific experiment?
No, I'm not talking about the clouds in this experiment. I'm saying, right, there's two explanations for Aristophanes' result, okay? Either a sun that's 93 million miles away, where all the light comes down parallel, so that the light above that first well comes straight down into it, and the other well doesn't come because light's parallel, the well's pointing in a different direction. Okay, that's one explanation. If the sun is smaller and closer, as we observe with the light coming through the clouds, right? If the sun's smaller and closer, then exactly the same result will happen on a flat Earth. Right?
Okay.
Neil deGrasse Tyson actually said on television, well, Eratosthenes only had two wells, so it didn't really prove anything. But if he had a third well, then yes, maybe it would prove it.
I mean, it's not a perfect test, of course.
No, it's not.
There's room for error in it.
Right.
There were ancient Greeks for it.
But at the same time, it's been touted as absolute proof.
It's not absolute proof. The
But
thing
that's-
is, he's
that's
not the
what's
only
been
one.
touted.
There are other guys. For example, Aristotle.
Well, first of all, the very first round Earth proof was that you can stand on a beach, and this is from 500 years ago. You can stand on a beach and watch a ship go out to sea, okay, and it would disappear hull first, and then at last you'll see the mast go down. Yes. Well, right now, you can go out and get a camera like this. Actually, a better one than this, a P900, yeah? Got amazing zoom on it. You can watch with your naked eye, watch a ship go out to sea, and yes, indeed, it does look like the ship goes down the hull first and then, right? Great. You whip out your camera, zoom in, it comes back. It doesn't go anywhere, yeah? And at that level of zoom, you can stay at that level of zoom, watch it go and sink and go over the horizon again, zoom in a bit more, comes back. And it will do that to the limit of the zoom.
Excuse me.
But when...
I don't mean to stop you. So, based on my, like, what you said, what I got. So, you sound like you believe that Earth is flat.
He does.
Hello, this is what...
Huh?
Yeah.
He does. That's the discussion.
You know what? Because it's simple. You don't need to say what someone said or what you saw on TV or what you read. It's very simple.
Or what we do in experiments.
Yeah, or you do an experiment or whatever. The only reason is in some parts of the world you find some got day and some got nights.
That's another good
You know what I'm
argument.
talking about? For example, the timing in America is not the same timing
I
in
know,
somewhere else.
I know, okay.
In Japan, for example.
Let me-
In Japan or something,
let me
different hours.
Can I explain that? for you?
Yeah, explain.
Okay, so as I said, the other explanation for I can never say this, Eratosthenes, yeah,
It's all right.
is that the sun is small and close, yeah. So
So we were kind of derailed a little bit, but it's okay. We'll come back to the Greeks later.
if you imagine,
Let's talk about this first.
If you imagine this is the Earth, the flat Earth,
Yeah.
the sun is 34 miles across, yeah, and it's kind of low. So literally, it'll light up this area. And literally, as it goes around the Earth, it lights up
Okay.
different areas.
Okay. Is the sun a sphere?
The sun is a light.
Okay, but what is the sun?
It's a light.
Okay.
It's a ball of fire.
Do you know what the sun is? Have you been there?
It's a
What
star.
is the sun?
It's a reasonable
Okay,
explanation.
with the P900, right? You can actually zoom in on the stars, which you shouldn't be able to do if the stars are 2 trillion miles
Why
away.
does it have shape?
Hang on. If you zoom in on stars, you'll find that every single star is unique. Yeah. From your naked eye, they all look the same. But you zoom in, and you can go onto YouTube and put in
They don't
P900.
all look the same.
No, they're all
No,
unique.
according to different phases of the star, and you should know about this.
Wait. Just let me finish. Let me
go ahead,
finish.
go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead.
You can go onto YouTube and look for P900 zoom in on stars. Yeah. You find every star is unique. One of them looks like watery fire. Another one looks like electrical discharge. Another one looks like a ball with a hole in the center. Another one looks like a rim with coloured lights around it. Another one looks like a wheel with spokes.
So what are they?
I'm not going to go there. That's a whole different conversation.
No,
but
it's not.
they're not
Okay,
suns.
okay.
They're
Sorry,
not
bro, but
distant
I'll
suns.
have to tell you something. When you are making people doubt their perception of reality and how they see the world and the explanations they give to the world and reasonable explanations, when you're going to completely shatter that and doubt it, you need to do something besides that. You need to give them
I don't
an
need to
alternative.
do anything.
Yes, you do.
I don't
Because
need
if
to
you
do
look,
anything.
okay, wait. You are preaching here. You are trying to expand your
I'm
ideals
telling
to
you
other
what I found
people.
out.
Is that true? Are you trying to
I'm
expand your
telling you
ideas?
what I found out.
Are you trying to expand
It's up
your
to
ideals?
you whether you believe
Are
it
you
or
trying
not.
to explain your ideas and to make other people follow your ideas?
But you know what? Yes.
Are you-
But
yes,
you know what?
exactly.
You cannot use the argument that because I don't know a certain thing, then it's all invalidated. Yeah. The scientists don't know. They make explanations and excuses. They build a house of cards based on assumption upon assumption. Right? It's not real.
All right. Now let me speak a little bit about that. It's okay for you to doubt.
Well, yes,
It's okay
I will.
for you to not believe the scientists. I mean, I don't think it helps you, but it's okay. It's perfectly fine. You have that freedom in a free
Okay.
society like we live in the West. But my point is, you're trying to explain to people that your point of view is the correct one when you don't have even close to the amount of explanations that modern day science has. You
Again.
can't explain the vast majority of phenomena that are going on, and yet you're trying to make people doubt themselves and doubt the reality that they see.
Again, the reality is a house of cards. When you look at it closely, the cards fall apart. Okay, you find it's one assumption built on another assumption, built on another assumption, and it looks like a solid structure, but it's a house of cards. It's all down to assumptions.
But what makes you believe that Earth is flat?
What makes you believe the Earth is a spinning ball
He will
in
say
space?
it's his observation. It's his senses
Earth
that tell him.
is spinning. It spins. It
How do you
spins.
know?
Yeah, but
How do you know?
Because we
Yeah,
have the
because
Coriolis effect.
the
We
night
have
and
many
day.
different
Right,
ways
hang on,
to-
hang
The
on.
night and day.
Hang on,
The
hang on
night
a
and
second.
day, that's the
Coriolis
thing.
effect. Excellent. Thank
Excellent.
you. Thank you.
Indeed.
Coriolis effect. Okay, so where do you get the Coriolis effect? Where do you see the Coriolis effect?
You can't see it as one person, but you can see it, for example, in hurricanes and in cyclones.
What is the Coriolis
Okay,
effect?
wait, you want me to explain? Okay, I'll explain to you what is the Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect consists in the movement of air with the rest of the Earth. When the globe, that is the Earth, rotates, then the air also rotates. That is inertia. When, for example, when you drive when you are in a car.
I'm asking about the Coriolis effect, not about
I'm trying
wind.
to explain to you.
No, that's
Bro, that is the Coriolis effect.
Coriolis effect is an effect, okay? When you're on a spinning body, yes. Let's imagine.
Okay, do you want me to explain?
No,
or do
because
you want to interrupt?
you're not explaining Coriolis
Yes,
effect.
I am. That's
You're
the
explaining
Coriolis
wind
effect.
patterns. Yeah?
Hold on, hold
But
on.
that is the Coriolis
Hold on,
effect.
hold on,
How the movement of air is the Coriolis
Can
effect.
I just tell you? Yeah, because Coriolis
Go
effect
ahead, go
got
ahead.
nothing to do with wind.
Go ahead.
Okay. If you're on a spinning body, like two kids on a merry-go-round, yeah, they're facing each other on a merry-go-round, all right, and you spin the merry-go-round, and one of them rolls a ball to the other, okay. From the perspective of the kids on the merry-go-round, the ball's going to go like this, yeah. It's going to look like it's going to go round in a curve, right? But it only looks that way because they're on a spinning platform, yeah? If there was a kid above the merry-go-round looking down, that ball will go in a straight line. Does that make sense?
Look.
It's an effect, right? The movement, the curvature of the ball is an effect only
so the
seen
Coriolis
by
effect
people.
is an optical illusion.
It's an effect.
It's an
So
optical
yes.
it's a
illusion.
lot simpler. It's a lot simple what you guys talking about. You don't need to use any like scientific term or anything. So you say the Earth is flat. So what shape is it?
No, but wait, the thing is that
What
what
do
he
you
said
mean?
is
Well,
completely
let-
mistaken.
let
It's
me-
completely
let me-
wrong.
let me
That
go
is the
with
Coriolis
you.
effect.
Look,
So
even
what
if
shape
you don't
is it?
believe,
What
wait, bro,
geometric shape
just
is
let me
it?
finish it. Even
What
if you don't believe in
geometric
the
shape is
Coriolis
it
effect, what it means in terms of modern day science is completely different from what you said. Now go ahead, bro.
No.
So tell me, what shape? If Earth is flat, okay, I want to believe that. So what geometric shape is it?
It's literally
Is it square,
a
triangle?
body of
pancake.
water.
Hold on.
It's a body of water, yeah?
Yeah.
That's
What
roughly
shape? What sh-
circular, yeah? With an ice wall around the outside, which we call Antarctica.
So it's
North Pole in the middle, continent strung out around it.
so
around
it's
the North
it's
Pole.
it's flat in circle way.
Yeah, the flat body
It's a
of
flat
water.
circle, of course.
So
Yeah.
is it like this?
Take a telescope and see Antarctica from here.
Because you know what?
Hold on.
Where are you from? You from
He'll say
America?
it's because of hills and because of different,
Have you ever?
yeah.
No,
He'll
no.
say it's because of
Have
that.
you ever been? Have you been to California?
Yeah.
Okay.
From there.
Okay. So on the weather report, what did they say? Along with the weather, visibility. Visibility is 10 miles. Visibility is 20 miles. Yeah. You can only see a certain way through this atmosphere. You can't see forever through this atmosphere.
But when the sky is clear, you should potentially see forever if the Earth
No,
is flat.
Yeah, if there's
Atmosphere,
no fog,
you
then I
can't-
should be able to just go up to
Can
a
you
high point and
can
see
you see?
Antarctica.
I don't know. It's not far
Okay,
enough,
bro, listen,
but can you
listen.
see
Okay.
that tree over there, the tree beyond that first tree line, is slightly lighter in colour than the trees at the
Yes,
foreground?
because the sky has many
No,
clouds.
because-
You know,
there's
the different
atmosphere.
The chlorophyll and the leaves are different levels. So
No,
they
no.
are
If there
darker
was,
or lighter.
if there were
It's not
mountains in the
because of how they are.
distance, they'll be washed out. They'll be hued blue, washed out with blue. The further away it is, the more blue there is, and the less you can see it because the atmosphere. You're seeing through lots of atmosphere.
Okay. A while
Is it-
ago, you told me that when you bring a telescope to the sea and you see a boat kind of disappearing to your naked eye, when you use the telescope, you can see. Wait. You can see the boat reappear again with the telescope.
Yes.
So when it disappears from your side with the telescope, does it disappear all at once?
This is why I say not a telescope, but the P900.
Whatever, this thing,
Because
yeah.
what you can do
P900.
when it disappears and you zoom in and then you see it again, you can look at that level of zoom, okay, and watch it do exactly the same thing. Zoom in again, comes back, and you can do that to the limit of the zoom. Yeah. It doesn't ever go away.
First of all, you're wrong in saying that if it disappears from the bottom to the top, that you can re-see it again. You can't, unless you go higher.
No.
When you go higher, you will be able to
You
see
can
it
watch.
again.
You can
The
watch
first thing,
umpteen
second
videos
thing, second thing,
of people doing
second
just
thing,
that,
second
and
thing,
I've done it
second
myself
thing.
personal experience. I've done it myself with a P900. Yeah,
Okay, bro. Second
first-hand
thing.
experience.
Second
But
thing.
you can disprove that if you want.
Second thing. Once it disappears with the telescope, it disappears again from the bottom.
Right.
When it's with the telescope,
Funnily
when
enough-
it's to the naked eye,
funnily
it
enough-
disappears from the bottom. There's
Okay.
nothing to do with the
Right.
atmosphere.
Yes, it has actually. There's an effect called a fata morgana. Okay, and you can see this on a hot day when you can see it on the road. A car's coming towards you. Right, you can see the reflection of the car on the road. Yeah.
Like a mirage in the desert.
Yes, it's like a fata morgana.
Yeah, I know about it.
Now, when on certain weather conditions, what you get is you get this band of reflection, okay, which hides the real horizon, gives you a false horizon, right, and it obscures the bottom of the boat, yeah, and basically reflects the top of the
That's
boat.
not how Fata Morgana works.
It is
It doesn't
actually.
work by
It
the
is
bottom
actually.
to the top.
It reflects,
listen,
it
okay.
inverts the image.
Yes, yeah,
It
no,
inverts
look,
the image.
no,
In
it's
that
more
case, then the
complicated
car
than
would
that.
be upside down. It wouldn't
Well, it
look
is.
the
You can
same.
see. You don't see. You can see from the wheels going downwards, and the car goes upwards. Yeah, it's a mirror image. Okay, it's a. See, if the car's there and its wheels are here. Yeah, it's a mirror image. It's not like that.
It's not a very image.
It
Look,
is.
let's not go this way because the conversation won't get us anywhere. Let's come back to the Coriolis effect. We were talking
Okay.
about it. First thing, Coriolis effect is not an illusion. It's not about illusions. It's not about basic observation.
When we talk about the Coriolis effect, most people talk about snipers shooting long distance.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, when we talk about Coriolis effect, what do they talk about? Snipers
Bro,
have to take it into consideration.
To have a conversation, you need to let the other party speak. So don't interrupt just for a little bit. I will
Okay.
explain to you what the Coriolis effect is. Now,
Explain about dropping a bowling
Sorry,
Huh?
excuse me.
Explain about dropping a bowling ball.
that's not
Wait.
Coriolis. Okay, go ahead.
It's regarding the Coriolis effect. We've got someone in my chat room.
Yeah,
We've
sure.
got quite a few
Go ahead.
ex-military in there as well. Quite a few people are saying that the Coriolis force only applies with a roundabout unless you can prove that we are actually spinning.
With a roundabout,
Can you prove that we're spinning?
that the Earth is spinning.
Can you prove that the Earth is spinning?
Can I prove that the Earth is
The
spinning?
Coriolis effect only applies to a roundabout. That, of course, unless you can
To the-
prove
a
that we're
moving-
spinning.
To a spinning circle.
Moving object.
To a
Can
spinning,
you
to a
pro-
spinning
that's based
sphere,
on,
right?
So you're begging the question if we're even spinning in the first place, but go on.
Yeah, no, look.
You
The
are.
Coriolis effect
Go
only
on.
works
Fire
in
away.
a spinning. No, it's not far away. I'm asking you. No,
I'm-
let's calm down.
I've
I'm
just
at-
chimed in and
Okay, calm down.
genuinely
Wait.
asked you a valid question.
Lady, don't interrupt. You're
I'll
asking a
interrupt
question.
all I want, then. If I don't agree
You
with
can
what
interrupt
you're
me,
saying,
but I
you're
can
talking
just ignore you
drivel,
if you keep interrupting.
Good for you.
Let's hear your. Let's hear
Let's
your
talk about the Coriolis effect.
Didn't want to address
What it actually is, and you can listen too, but just don't interrupt too much. Now, the Coriolis effect depends on how on the Earth is spinning around itself, right? The Coriolis effect is about the spherical Earth spinning, and the air is spinning with it. The air on top of solid rock is spinning with the rest of the Earth because of inertia. When you are inside of a bus and you're driving and you jump up, you don't end up in the back of the bus. Why? Because inertia. You
Have
move
you
with the
jumped forward. Sorry, no, go on, sorry.
You move with the bus when you are in the bus. Or even if you put just a thing to stop wind resistance, even if you're not in the bus technically, you can still jump up and you end up in the exact same spot. Also, if you jump out of the bus, you will roll on the same direction that the bus was driving. That is inertia. Now, Coriolis effect has a lot to do with inertia, because the air around the Earth is moving with the globe, with the Earth. Now, the thing is, if the air is moving with the globe, that means inevitably in the poles it will be moving slower than in the equator, because the equator does a full spin, a bigger spin at the same time that the poles do a smaller spin. So how does that work? I'll tell you how it works. Seeing that the air is not like the rock, the air collides with itself. Different airs from different different distances from the equator, they have a different speed, and thus they collide with each other. The air of the equator collides with the air of the poles, and they and those different airs, seeing that they move at different speeds, it's like this. Seeing that they move at different speeds, they collide with each other, and that collision creates a rotation movement, which creates the hurricanes and the cyclones if it happens in a high pressure point. Now, what are hurricanes and cyclones? And this is exactly what can prove the Coriolis effect in real life. all hurricanes are these movements, these you know what a hurricane is, right? It's the natural catastrophe that we see so often. All of the hurricanes are only in the North Pole, when all the cyclones are in the South Pole. Now, where is the distinction? Because the hurricanes, the cyclones, they rotate clockwise, when the hurricane rotate anti-clockwise, all of them. And there is another important thing, is that no hurricane and no cyclone would ever come in contact with the equator line. Why is that? Because the air in the equator is divergent. It diverges, so it doesn't allow them to come closer than that. You know what I mean? And this is the Coriolis effect. It's what creates most of the winds that we have nowadays. Do you understand it now? It has nothing to do with optical illusions.
You're not telling me something I don't know, right? I know.
I mean, it seems like you didn't know this. You told me that Coriolis effect is an optical illusion.
No, but this isn't a Coriolis effect. You're describing wind patterns.
Français, frère. Hein? Français?
Non, mon ami, non.
You're describing wind patterns, yeah? The Coriolis effect is what I described. On a moving body, yeah? When you actually send something moving across that moving body in a straight line, it will appear to those people on that turntable to take a curved path. It's not really taking a curved path. That's why it's called the Coriolis effect. Yeah, it's the effect of movement. Yeah. Now, right?
Let me finish. I'll let him finish.
Right.
When you finish, I ask you a question. If you don't mind.
You done?
Yeah, finish.
Let him finish.
Right. About the weather patterns, okay?
So
There's a place you can go online, and they've taken this off because too many people, flat earthers, are going there and getting this map. You can see weather patterns, wind patterns, and currents and everything on different projections of the Earth. Okay. One of the projections was the AE map, the equidistant azimuthal map. Yeah, the flat Earth map, basically. And what it shows is where the path the sun goes, rotates around, which is a band of heat around, okay? So the sun goes around in one direction, yeah? In one particular direction, right? Cold air is at high pressure, warm air is at low pressure. So in the southern hemisphere, yeah, the wind starts coming up from what we call the South Pole, which is the outside, right, towards the low pressure where the sun is. Yeah, so it rotates one way. In the northern hemisphere, the cold air, the high pressure, yeah, goes to the low pressure, the warm air, that way. So it rotates the other way. Okay, nothing to do with movement. Literally, the only movement involved is a movement of a heat source going round.
And how is that movement created?
The sun moving around the Earth.
So the sun is creating all the wind.
The sun is responsible for all the wind. Yes.
Okay, the wind is moving with the sun.
No, not directly, because the water heats up at a different rate, the land heats up at a different rate. There are all sorts of different connotations that can happen.
For example,
I just told you, the water heats up at a different rate. The land heats up at a different rate. The weather, the landscape makes differences. It's not just a smooth rock and.
Well, yeah, the landscape does make differences,
So,
but from what you're saying, supposedly the wind and the air should move with the sun, rotating all around.
You made a few points, and I didn't butt in.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Points,
I'm just making sure I understand.
Okay,
Yeah,
right, but that explains why you get two different directions of, and as I say, before they took it off, you could go to this site and watch it in action. Okay, literally watch it. But they took it off because we were making videos about them.
Okay, are you finished?
Right. No.
Okay, go ahead.
Again, the Coriolis effect, right? When anybody mentions the Coriolis effect, they always go to saying sniper bullets and infantry shells. They have to take the Coriolis effect into account because, again, from what you're saying, the Earth's spinning, different speeds. So when you shoot, it will have the effect of curvature. But we cannot find a single sniper who says they have to take the Coriolis effect into account. And in any case, if a plane goes from the equator, flies north, okay, it would have to actually go west to fly straight.
Are you finished?
Okay.
You're finished.
So that just okay. I'll forget it.
So what is the sun?
Sorry.
What is the sun?
The sun is a light and heat source. You tell me what the sun
How
that's
is
to the
it-
human.
Okay,
But the
no,
actual
bro,
sun,
bro,
you
bro,
know what I'm
bro,
saying?
Yes. What is the sun made of?
is. Do you know what the sun is made of?
I think I know. It's a star. It's a
How
very
do
good
you know
explanation.
what the sun is made
Because
of?
it made sense.
How do you
Makes
know?
sense.
How do you?
Okay, how do you know?
No, I just told you I don't know. How do you know?
I don't know either. I know
No.
the scientific explanation,
Right,
bro.
exactly. What
Yeah,
you
but it
know,
makes a lot more
what
sense than
you
what you're
know
saying.
is what somebody has told you.
And what you know is
House
exactly
of
the same,
cards.
except it
No,
makes no sense.
No, House of
Yes,
Cards.
it's the same.
House of Cards.
All knowledge is a house of cards, but there are houses of cards that make more sense than others.
Well, I'm glad for you.
You didn't understand what I just said, did you?
I did understand what you said.
Good,
You speak
good,
English.
good, good. Listen to me. Listen to me. All knowledge has a possibility of being wrong.
Exactly.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Good, good. But there are some kinds of knowledge that are more probable than others.
From again, that depends on your perspective, doesn't it?
Okay, let's approach
Because
it
as
from
I
a
said,
different angle.
I'm looking at evidence that I can see, touch, and feel. I can look at that sun.
But your senses are flawed.
No, they're not. I can look at the sun and see the sun rays come through the broken cloud, yeah, down at angles. That cannot happen if the sun's 93 million miles away.
You said something. You said something I agree with, which is like you believe in something you see and touch. I agree with these things. You know what I'm saying? So, which means that the outer space, based on what you say, doesn't exist. Then you never been there. You
Doesn't
never
exist.
Yeah,
been
he
there.
thinks it
You
doesn't
never
exist.
been there. I never been there.
Doesn't exist.
Which means we don't need NASA.
We don't.
Have you?
Exactly.
Okay, tell me
this
something.
is how
tell
I
me
see
something.
it myself.
Have you been in
You know.
Japan?
Have I been? No, I haven't.
You haven't. How do you know it exists?
I don't.
So you think Japan
Yeah,
doesn't
because
exist?
you see
I've seen on
Japanese.
television.
Wait, 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 wait,
I've seen on
wait,
television,
wait.
but that's
That's
not
why.
Wait,
I'm not going to dispute.
how do you know
the-
it exists?
I'm not going to dispute the Japanese. I've seen Japanese people. And
How
they
do you
say
know
it
they're not
exists.
actors acting as if they're
They
Japanese?
could be.
So, if whether Japan
I know
exists
how
or
you're
not
going.
has
I
exactly
know
the
where
same
you're going with
probability
that.
as the space existing or
No,
not.
it doesn't. No, it
Why
doesn't.
not? You haven't been there.
Because there's only one source of the information,
Which is?
which is NASA.
This thing
Which
I
is
agree
NASA
with.
and all
I
the
agree
space
with this
agencies
one. I
that-
disagree with the Earth
No,
being
you can't
flat.
agree with this one.
No,
because
no,
you
no.
need to
Because-
accept
because-
things that
look,
have the more
yeah, tell
probability.
him what he-
But,
That's the
but
biggest
let me just say,
probability.
let me just say something. Let me just say something. It's like I believe there is a theory my grandmother says, you know, between the reality and the lie, four fingers. What is it? This is the lie and this is the reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my father said the same.
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. So, you see the sun, yes, the sun exists. You see the moon, yes, the moon exists. You see the stars, yes, the stars exist. You see the sky is just, it doesn't exist. That's
Okay,
not the
look,
sky.
look.
But you don't see the outside. So you are on Earth, it's better to just stay
This
on
is
Earth.
not perfect. This is not perfect.
But this is not perfect too.
Nothing is perfect in our senses. Our senses are flawed.
Yeah.
No knowledge is absolute. My point is.
No, I'm not saying my knowledge.
No, wait.
Probably is absolute to me, but I'm
No,
not.
it's
I'm
not.
not throwing it at you,
You
or
might,
him.
even if you believe in it, you can't be absolutely certain that it's absolute. You can't have 100%
But what I
certainty that
said,
it's true.
what I said,
Never.
what makes sense to me, I'm not throwing it at you to say to you, you know, you got to believe this.
Okay,
no,
fair enough.
You have to believe in it, don't believe in it.
Yes.
It's you. For
There are
example,
things you
with this
can
guy,
prove
I
and things
disagree
you
with the
can't
Earth
prove.
being flat. I disagree with this one.
Good.
But the thing I agree with him is we don't know if there is an outside space because we never been there. You know what I'm saying? You never been there. So where are you from? You.
From Ukraine.
Huh?
Ukraine.
So based on you said how you know Japan exists, I don't know if Ukraine exists.
Okay.
Huh? But you from
okay.
Ukraine, you are proof that Ukraine
Okay,
exists.
do you want me to answer?
Answer.
I will answer.
Yeah.
I will answer. Okay, you haven't been in Ukraine. You haven't seen Ukraine.
Yeah, but I
You-
met first
wait,
Ukrainian.
Wait. There is a lower possibility of the existence of Ukraine in your mind, seeing that you didn't perceive it directly, than, for example, existence of London. right? Even though both are geographic locations.
Yeah.
But there's history of Ukraine you can study. There are Ukrainians you can speak to. There are other people who tell you that Ukraine exists. There's Ukrainian language, there's Ukrainian culture, there's Ukrainian food, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of proof that a place called Ukraine exists.
So hold on, yes.
Even though you've never
Yes,
been in
yes,
Ukraine,
yes, yes.
the possibility that Ukraine exists is very high.
Exactly. So look. So you say this. So what is the proof that Adam and Eve exist, and what is the proof that evolution is true?
Okay. What's
is
the
the-
difference between the two?
No, but both of them are the same.
No, they're
It's
not.
the same.
No, they're
it's
not.
the same rubbish.
No, they're not.
If
No,
you tell me
no.
Adam and Eve existed, or is the same thing if you tell me that human being came
I will
from
answer you once again.
monkeys, share the
I will
same
answer you.
grandfather as monkey? It's the
Evolution is something that you can prove with reasonable means.
How?
By looking at the world,
How?
by using the scientific method.
How can you
I'm
prove
explaining.
evolution?
Calm down. Calm down. I'm
Yeah.
explaining to you.
I'm
By looking
calm.
at the world, by understanding what Darwin wrote. By the way, evolution is not something that Darwin just made up. The idea already existed before him. He just developed it. That's what happened. No, it's not bullshit. It's true. The idea of evolution, of being evolving,
Even Darwin
existed before
said there's no
Darwin.
evidence.
We can give it 50% reality.
Okay, guys.
50%.
Do you want me to answer questions?
Yeah, I'm
I will
listening.
answer
I'm
questions.
listening.
Even Darwin said it, there's
Now,
no
Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
The only thing that Adam and Eve is based on is a book. A book written by some guys, by a few different guys throughout history, that is not based on observation, that is not based on reason, that is not based on science. It's not based on anything.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the same as, for example, the Iliad by Homer. In fact, I would say that the Iliad had
Again, the likelihood
a little
of
bit more of
creation is
truth
more
into
likely
it,
than
because the Trojan
evolution,
War
because
actually happened.
everything
In the Bible, for
this
example,
world is interdependent
the
on
Jews
everything
fleeing
else.
Egypt,
Yeah?
it's
Like,
accepted as a
your
historical
eye
fact,
could
right?
evolve
It's accepted that
Have
the
you
Jews
been at
fled
that
Egypt.
side? I don't even.
I haven't, but it's
so
true,
I
bro.
don't have to know that it's true or
No,
not.
look, you can't prove absolutely that it's true, but you can't prove that anything is absolutely true.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying to you.
No, but look. Can you prove absolutely that I am here right now speaking to you? 100%.
Can't touch you.
Yes.
Yeah, so you exist, but if you, sometimes you physically exist, but your behavior can speak to
Okay, but
make you look
look,
like exist.
This might.
If you want to
Can
go
this
with
be a
me,
dream?
This no, it's not a dream.
It can't be a dream.
It's not a dream.
How can you know?
Because I know I'm not sleeping and I'm not dreaming and I'm not in an illusion.
Okay, so in every single dream you had, you knew that you were dreaming.
Because you know that you were sleeping.
No, did you know it in the
dream and
dream
there
when
is
you were
vision.
dreaming?
There is dream and there is vision.
Okay.
If you want to go with me there, I will tell you I came back from the past.
Dream, hallucination, vision, it doesn't matter. Things that you thought were there but were not there in reality. Did it ever happen to you?
Yeah, that's called deja vu. Something.
For example, the deja vu. Yeah, for example, the dreams. You might think that the dream, when you're dreaming, you think that the dream is actually happening. But when you wake up, you realize you were
I'm
dreaming.
going to check up on that
The
one,
same
because
logic can be applied to our
As far as
world.
I can tell,
The world as we see it now might not be exactly the same as we perceive it as, because our senses are flawed, first of all, and secondly of all, the reality we see might be something different than we perceive it as. You can't be absolutely certain that this is not, in reality, a dream. You know what I mean? But the probability that this is not a dream is higher than the probability that this is a dream.
So let's apply what you say. Let's apply what you say.
It's about probability.
Yeah, but let's apply this. So let's apply what you say on every single matter. Okay, let's go to the evolution theory.
Yep.
I don't mind. It's like if you look at it, it makes a bit of sense. It makes a bit of sense if you look at it. But I didn't discover any fossils myself. You didn't discover any fossils yourself. You didn't dig and found and do DNA researches and something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if it's 99.99% true, but there is one minus like 0.1%
Yes.
that can be
they actually went over the south part.
lie, and that's
Yeah, it
what
can
that
be a lie.
0.1%
Bro,
can destroy the whole.
It can be a
You know what I'm
lie.
saying?
My point is, we need to follow things that are probables that have the highest probability. Yes, we do.
No.
Yes, we do.
That's
All you
you.
do. No, listen.
That's you.
Listen.
If you want to
We need to
follow-
accept things that we perceive as probable.
So you believe that you came from monkey.
And watch the compass spin
So you
round
believe that you and a
every
monkey
direction is north.
share the same grandparents?
What grandparents?
Same great
It's a cycle that goes through millennia.
Yeah.
Not something that goes back to just my grandparents.
No, I mean like you and monkeys share the same origin. Apes. So you are an ape,
It would have taken a certain time.
aren't you? Are you an ape? No, I'm not.
So what are you?
Huh?
What are you?
I'm myself.
What are you?
I'm myself.
What is myself?
Myself, as you can see, if you want to know more, ask me questions. Then you can know
What
who I
are you
am.
now? What is your myself? What did you come from?
What do you mean? What did I?
What did you come from?
What did I come from, or where did I come from?
Did humans always exist?
Humans, no.
That's a
No.
So how did they come to exist?
They came to exist. I know based on me. I came from my mother and my father.
And where did they come from?
They come from their mothers and their
And where did
father.
they come from?
They come from their mother and keep going.
And who was the first human?
Who was the first? There was no first human.
So they always exist.
Well, there were aliens. If you want to go with this belief, you want me to go with you swimming. There were aliens. I'm an alien. How do you know I'm
How
not
did
an
the
alien?
aliens exist?
Huh? It's me.
What came before
I'm
the
an
aliens?
alien.
What came before you?
Only aliens. I'm
What
an
came
alien.
before you? Before aliens?
What only aliens? I created you.
Did the
Do you know- I
Did
created
the
you.
aliens always exist?
I created you.
How did you create me?
Huh? I came in my image. Do you know the Anunnaki? You know the Anunnakis? You know the Anunnakis?
I heard of it.
But do you know them?
No, I don't know.
Huh? Do you know Mesopotamia?
Yes,
Sumerian.
Mesopotamia, yeah.
Mesopotamia, Sumerians.
Lost civilization, yeah.
So okay. So me, I'm Anunnaki. I came to Earth. What I wanted gold and copper. So I wanted people to work, and I created you. And yes, that's true. You.
How do you know that?
Because I know.
How?
Because I know.
How?
Because it's me.
How do you know I'm not an Anunnaki?
Huh? No, you know.
How do
Because
you
you
know?
said it yourself.
No, how do you know I'm not an
Because you
Anunnaki?
said it
Maybe
yourself.
I'm the Anunnaki and you're the human working
No,
for me.
no.
How do you know?
No.
How do you know?
No, because I know. Because you
How?
said it yourself. I mean, I know it.
Well, your perception is not perfect. So I
What
might
are
be
yours
an
is not
Anunnaki as
perfect
much as
too.
you can be.
No.
So we're both
So
Anunnaki.
how don't do you? I don't know. I don't know
So
if
you
you are
don't know if you are
Anunnaki.
an
But you said you believe evolution is true. You said it with
Maybe
you.
I'm just
It's
an
still on
Anunnaki
camera
who is
here.
wrong.
You know what?
Isn't it? Isn't it still on camera? Exactly. So I created you. I'm Anunnaki.
How do
I
you
said
know
it
you
on
created
camera.
me?
Because you said you believe in evolution. You came from monkeys. So
What I
yes,
believe
okay.
and what
This
I
is one
am
of the
has
guys
nothing
I
to do with
created.
each other. I might be wrong.
Huh?
Can I not be wrong?
What do you mean?
Can I be wrong? Is it possible that I'm wrong or not?
It is same
It's
possible.
possible.
It's
So
the
maybe
same
I'm wrong in
possibility.
thinking that we came from evolution, and in reality, I'm the Anunnaki and you're the human.
No, I
you know
am the
that?
Anunnaki.
How do you know
I
that?
am the Anunnaki and you are the monkey.
How do you know that?
Huh?
How do you know
Because
that?
what did he say?
I've been bouncing
It's still on camera. If anyone see that, it's still on camera.
Can
This
Anunnaki
guy,
be wrong?
What?
Can Anunnaki be wrong?
No,
That can't be wrong.
No.
You can't be wrong.
no, because I'm the proof.
Fuck. Okay,
Believe
this
me.
I'm free from this
Yeah,
conversation.
well, that's it.
I'm free from
Exactly.
that. Let's go
Anyway,
back to the
you
flat earth
see
theory,
that
guys.
everything is on camera. Anunnaki in
Okay,
the place.
Anunnaki.
Exactly.
Praise the Anunnaki.
Exactly. That's it. You got my content over everything.
From your Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen.
Dates, yeah? If you eat 7 dates with a morning meal, that no toxin or magic will touch you that day. Do you believe that?
Yeah, we believe it.
We believe it. He say no. He say no.
You don't have no brain.
Because it's utter rubbish, guys. It's utter rubbish.
That's advice.
I heard a brother of mine say.
God didn't
I
say
heard
to Prophet Muhammad, excuse me.
I heard a brother say that means you could eat 7 dates in the morning and take a cyanide pill and you'd have no problem.